Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be demoing the Tim Holtz Distress Markers and Distress Ink Minis to paint. So this is the quote finished product. We're going to mount it and stuff later, but basically I'm just going to show you how to use your distress markers and distress ink. So, and I'm going to fast forward at some point because we don't have time to do everything. And I didn't necessarily use the same colors as I used on the first one, but just wanted to show you. Also, make sure your caps are on. I've left some like this and they totally dry out. So anyway, here's what we do to get started. Just draw a little bit of ink onto your craft mat, and I'm using aged mahogany. I don't think I used that in the first one, and a lot of mustard seed. And first I'm going to paint the buildings. So get a watercolor paintbrush. And the first time I used this small brush for everything, but it took a little bit longer. So I'm going to experiment and see about this bigger brush. This one, I'm not sure what size it is, but what you want to do is just get a little wash going here. And it's a lot lighter when I use the big brush, but it's 10 times as fast. So I'm just going to do a light wash with these two colors. See how fast that goes on? And don't worry, because we can add some accents later on. I don't know if I like this red, but it's fine. But I'm going to need some more yellow likely. So color that in. And whenever you need more ink, just use your pen and put some more ink down. The square minis obviously lay down ink a lot faster as well. So, and then what I'm going to show you is, and see, it doesn't matter if you kind of mix the colors, because on this one you'll see I went in a couple times and mixed in some black soot for the details, mixed in some mowed lawn for the greenery. So I'm gonna pause this for now, fill in the buildings like you saw, and then come back when we do the detail. All right, okay. Now, actually I added some vintage photo and mustard seed just to make these a little bit darker. So kind of put a wash on, and you'll notice I did the stairs in black soot over here, but I like to put down kind of a base color so that you're not missing a lot of space there. And it adds a little bit more dimension, you know, if you add a little bit more color. I'm doing this on Nina Bright White cardstock, so I don't want to get it too wet. So I have a pretty dry paintbrush, as you can see here, because the cardstock does warp. The only other thing I want to use my big brush for, and I dip it actually in water to clean it off. They say you can just run it through, but a little bit OCD. For the sky, because you don't want any bold lines in your sky. So I'm using Salty Ocean. I don't really have a good sky color, so this will do. So get your brush real wet to do sky, and just kind of, if you stick to the edges and then brush it out, it gives that kind of mottled sky look, kind of like clouds. But see how quick that sky is, and see my brush got drier as I went up and away from the buildings. So kind of gives the look of air or whatnot. I'll probably cut a lot of it off when I mount the card, but that's just to show that. And for detail, I use more black soot. This one's vintage photo, a little bit of walnut stain for good measure. And I just kind of mix those. For the black soot, I do real watery. I've switched to the smaller brush for the detail, and I'm just going to do the stairs in some black soot, and see how it blends with the color I've already laid down there. I also like to do some of the railing detail. You don't have to do black soot on there, but I like to. Just adds a little bit more dimension. And then some of the detail there, we'll add some browns. Ooh, that was kind of dark. But again, it's water, so just brush it out if you don't like it. This yellow is kind of really pale, so I might go back to my big brush and add a little bit of brown to it. See how easy that is? Just throw some brown on there. There we go, stained. This one's a little light too, so I'm gonna do the same. And again, you don't want too much water on there. For the detail, it's pretty brown, so add a little bit of the black soot again. And I do some on the roof just to add a little bit of shadow. I am not an artist, so there is not a lot of artistic talent going on here, but you'll see how easy it is to create what looks like a painted design. Oh, and also this is a magenta stamp from long ago. I don't remember what it's called, but to stamp the image onto these papers, I did use archival. I didn't like the archival as much because the detail got a little muddled. So then I used Versamark, which gave me a lot better detail. And when I stamped it, I didn't just stamp down. That didn't seem to work. I got some not so clear images. So what I did was I inked my, my stamp and then put the paper on it and just smoothed it on. And I got a really nice crisp image. So if you're trying to just stamp with these large stamps, it doesn't usually work too well. All right. So as far as the greenery, I just mixed Mowed Lawn and Lucky Clover and just added some green effects. So I'm gonna pause it again and I'll be with you again in a bit. So there we have it. Again, not the same colors as this one, but it doesn't matter what colors you use. You could use purple, it doesn't matter. So I added in the green. I took some more of the walnut and added just a little bit more detail, just scrubbing it on there. You know, darkening it in a few places and things like that, just to add a little more dimension. But there you have it. In less than 5 minutes, you can paint a large stamp.